It's time for the Daily Stand Up Podcast presented by Agile Dad with your host, Lee Henson. Without any further ado, let's get started. In a recent class, I had a student come up and we were talking about problems that new Scrum Masters face. And she was asking me about what are two of the most or three of the most common problems that Scrum Masters run into. And right out of the gate, I was able to think of two. So I thought I'd share those two with you. And then some solutions, some ways that you can overcome some of those problems. So the first problem a Scrum Master faces is trying to balance the role between being the person who is responsible for implementing and enforcing Scrum framework and someone who is a true pure servant leader. When you take on the role of servant leader, the ability to enforce or to restrict or to smack down, if you will, that kind of goes away. So, servant leader is responsible for facilitating and making things cool and removing obstacles. The person who is enforcing Scrum is, somewhat, I hate to say it, but cracking the whip about making sure that people aren't violating some of the major things in Scrum so that we can have successful Scrum or Agile implementations. Now, is there a balance between the two? I would argue there is. Okay. Let me share the second problem with you and I'll share some solutions. The second problem is interesting. So, the second problem is one of a little different. Scrum Masters having trouble getting the team or the organization to buy in and follow because people just don't like change. I've said a million times that people don't like change. But I've also said that the happiest people in the world are the ones who embrace change. So it's so ironic that companies want to put change on the back burner, yet it's something that's so critical in order for them to be happy. So how can we pull a Hannah Montana and have the best of both worlds? Oh my, I did a music reference. All right. So here are the top handful of ways or practices that Scrum Masters can help resolve these two issues. Let's start at the top. I'm just going to number them in no specific order. Number one, you need to be able to clearly communicate the benefits of Scrum. And it's easy to go in and say, oh, have increased transparency and better collaboration and faster delivery. That's great. But you need to convince all the world, the team, the leaders, everyone, that there's going to be even greater benefits, that we'll have an easier way to build relationships, that we'll have higher quality and higher consumer satisfaction. I think sometimes we often overlook some of the more, how should I put it, aspects of Scrum that are things that people can't report on. And we set those aside to look for the material things that we know can be reported on. And it's just interesting to me. So I think being able to clearly communicate why Scrum's important and how whip limits can be applied and how we can better collaborate and all that good stuff is definitely critical. And it's going to help you overcome some of these issues. All right, how about number two? Provide training and education on Scrum principles and practices to the team, even with stakeholders if you can. This is going to help them understand what you're asking them to do, why Scrum is a framework, and how they're able to deal in it, work in it, and what their responsibilities and accountabilities might be. I think sometimes we don't take it to that level when we should. All right, number three, you should be able to act as a coach for the team. You should be able to help them identify and address issues or challenges that arise. This is going to help build a culture of continual improvement within the team. You want to make sure the team is always striving for improvement, but understands that there may be some plateaus in some areas where they're not getting the level of improvement that they'd like. And that's okay too. But you need to be the coach for the team to help them identify areas that can be improved and help them understand that the culture of psychological safety and trust will promote them experimenting early, figuring things out, and pivoting and making adjustments. Coming in number four, encourage collaboration among team members and build a culture of trust. This is going to help the team understand the importance of working together effectively. People don't care how much you know until I know how much you care. And if you can't trust people and build that culture, you are going to be hosed. It is not going to go well for you. Building an environment and culture of trust should be at the top of the list. All right. Coming in at number five. Got to read my own handwriting here. Empower the team to take ownership of the process and make decisions about how to best implement Scrum. This will help them create a sense of ownership and commitment, and they'll feel like these were their ideas. and that they can support them and that they can roll with them because they were part of the decision making process. And the benefit here, the beauty here is that when you empower teams instead of enabling teams, it's a behavior that stays with them and not a behavior that you have to help them repeat. All right, coming in at number 6, celebrate the team's success and progress. This will help team members feel valued and motivated to continue working together. I can tell you, many organizations I go into don't do enough celebrating. And when I describe it to some teams, I even hear leadership laugh sometimes like, do organizations really do that? I'm like, yeah, especially the ones where I'm coaching. It is important to celebrate and have a good time. Now, one thing that I don't do is celebrate mediocrity. That's important too. There are no such thing as participation trophies in Scrum or Agile. You're either going to succeed or not succeed, but you should, when you do succeed, celebrate success, celebrate progress, and show so you can keep people motivated and working towards that common goal. All right, coming in at number 7, provide regular feedback to the team on their progress and how they're implementing Scrum. This will help them understand what they're doing well and where they need to improve. This is almost like the reverse of a retrospective. I want them to hear straight from me and from their leadership and from other people, hey, you all are doing fantastic. Here's an area of improvement, but overall, you guys are doing out of this world, right? And I think that that's so critical to have teams understand that regular feedback isn't an opportunity for everybody to always be critical. That regular feedback can be something as simple as, great job or whatever the case may be, right? So, what I'm trying to say is make sure that you have visual indicators, make sure that you teach the team what they should be doing, make sure they understand the why behind the what. That's going to go a long way. All right, coming in at number 8, leading by example in terms of transparency and openness will create a culture of trust and respect, and team members will be more willing to follow the process. For me, I just tie this straight back to the force. I ask, are we focused? Are we focused on a limited number of things? Are we honoring WIP? Are we open and honest in our communications? You know, um, what about the respect? Are we showing respect for other team members and respect for the framework and respect for what's going on? The C is commitment. Do we finish the things that we commit to do? We should commit to do things only in the sense that we know we're going to get them done. And then, of course, the E is for extreme courage. And that's we want to make sure that we're being courageous about our decisions, that we're helping other people in need, but that if anybody else needs help, that we're willing to step up and provide that helping hand, right? So these are all great things you can do. But I think the last one is probably my favorite. So number 9, be patient and understand that change takes time. It takes time for a team to grow, to understand, to adopt, to adapt to new processes. So they need to be persistent. And there's just so many things going on. It's an education thing. There's lots and lots and lots of information. So I hope that you can understand these things, process these things, and that they make sense to you. I hope that you can use these tools to help you be a better Scrum Master. And most importantly, I hope that until next time, you stay happy, stay healthy, and stay well, my friends. Continue to be agile and do take care.